Hello and welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. It's kind of weird having me down in the bottom corner. Now you'll know when I'm like looking at myself. Anyways, as you can see, I'm wearing the developer role. Isn't it? Maybe it's cuter with that little ping. It looks like an idiot. All right, let's go. What are we doing? Okay, so we're just picking it up from our last lesson. Now, why am I in the bottom left-hand corner? You will know very shortly. All right, let's just tell you right now. So you click this, and then you put TER, and I click enter. Haha! So James, everyone's like, why do you say James Gates? Well, like my grandfather's name was James Gates. And when I was in Hollywood, I used the name James Gates as my acting name because I wanted to connect with my grandfather, and he was also a filmmaker. So, okay, so I'm like, as you can see with the time, like this is just like one after another. You know, I got to get all this information out. Now the question is like, how late tonight am I actually going to be working? The issue is tomorrow I have some lessons to teach. I think I got like 2. So I definitely got a lot of time tomorrow. I can work on this. But the other thing is like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm really enjoying this process. It's a little bit hard on the body because like, I'm tall. I'm really tall. And I'm not sitting straight. I need to do my exercise. Like I got to do my boxing routine today. I mean, it is my day off, so I don't always work out on my day off. So I could just keep pushing. I could take a 3rd dose. I took 2 doses, of this pre-workout formula. I got lots of food. I could eat that chicken. And did you see my short? I had this one short. Yeah, see, you could tell because I'm just talking about like just nonsense. And then that's how you know I'm starting to get exhausted. So let's see what we can do. Yeah. Let's see. How much of my project would you need to understand to be able to make that decision? So the thing is the choice. Okay, remember the choice. Which choice are we asking? Where did it ask me to make a choice? To get started, you will need to choose a suitable programming language and technology stack for your project. Technology stack, development environment. So now, what's this up here? So you see this thing called Visual Studio Code. So this is what I'm talking about, right? So in my, when I had this Polish student, he stopped his lessons last week. I don't know why. So maybe because he's getting married. Remember? So he was like, what do I need to consider about getting married? And then we made this whole thing. It was crazy. And then I was like, whoa, this works. I could do this. If it can get to this point, because I mean, it didn't really work. It kind of worked, but I'm like, if I can get to this point, I can do it, no problem. Because my app is just basically text boxes, input boxes, navigation elements. That's it. So, but the thing is, I can't answer this question. I don't know. So that's why I decided like, okay, so I better ask. So, all right. So I need to send you a description of my project. Yes, you can send a message containing this many characters. So that was just like the biggest portion was this many characters, including spaces. You can break it into smaller sections. How much of the project would you need to understand to be able to make that choice for me? So I'm talking about what kind of software are we talking about? Like, what are we doing? How are we going to develop it? I can send you basic project details in 3 sections labeled 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3. Should I send you 3 sections before you answer the first question? Yes, it would be helpful to have more context on your project to better understand the scope and requirements. Please send the 3 sections labeled 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, and I will review the information before answering your first question. This is insane. All right. So I've designed a mock-up of the user interface. There are 11 pages within the web application. 4 pages. Page 1, menu 1. Page 2, menu 2. Page 6, menu 3. Page 11, menu 4. Have only text boxes and navigation buttons. My neighbors. 6 pages. 3, 4, 5. 789 have text boxes, an input box or input boxes, and navigation buttons. So which one has input boxes? I guess it's page 8, 7, 9. Oh boy. One page, page 10, has text boxes. Text boxes that pull data from. Has text boxes. I should delete the extra text boxes that pull data from the 6 pages 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 with an input box or input boxes. Additional input boxes under each of the text boxes that will pull data from 6 pages with the input box or input boxes and navigation buttons. So I'm just explaining what are the objects. So we have pages and object types. This version does not have a backend. This type of web application could be considered a landing page or a lead magnet, though it has 11 pages and not just one page. Thank you for providing the first section. All right, so let's talk about the content. So, because I want to send a PDF file. And then I started realizing I do need some kind of backend, but not exactly the way that you might be thinking. So the text entered into input boxes on page 10. Which input boxes are located below each of the text boxes that contain text? Text is pulled from input boxes on pages 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 and appears text on page 10 under their associated page title and not page number. And the text boxes on page 10 that contain text from pages 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 as they appear on page 10 with their associated page titles and not the page numbers as they are listed below. Pages and page titles are as follows. So then you can see, like, okay, so I have the third section is obviously pages and page titles are as follows. It has that text in the next prompt. Will be saved to the application as long as the application is open or until the user reaches page 11 and click the button indicating that the user will navigate to page 1 and begin the process again. Or they close the browser. Did they say close the browser? Will be saved as long as the application is open. Okay, so yeah, so that means closing the browser. All right, so then what happens? The user may reach page 11 after having entered their email address into the. Hold on, we're not here yet. Let's put it back until we're ready. The user may reach page 11 after having entered their email address into the input box at the bottom, but above the navigation buttons on page 10, and then clicking the send button, therefore sending the contents, so that we know that, I should say content, excluding navigation buttons and the email input box contents and send button to the email address entered into the email inbox, input box. The contents of page 10 will be sent to 2 locations. Okay, so first there's a Google spreadsheet that contains columns for each of the input boxes and rows that includes the content of the input boxes associated with the email address and the time that the email was sent. And the second contents is that is structured like page 10 will be turned into a PDF file, and then the PDF file will be sent to the email address provided on page 10. If the user has not closed the browser or clicked the button on page 11 to begin a new project, the text entered into the input boxes on any and all pages with the exception of the email input box should be saved to the page whenever a navigation button on the associated page is clicked and whenever navigating back to a page. The input box will contain the last text entered within the input box, and the text in the input box can be edited. Say that 5 times fast. All text that is entered into the input boxes will be saved to the Google spreadsheet. When the text is entered into any input box, a row is created according to the IP address within the Google spreadsheet. Any changes to an input box that is saved after navigating away from a page will be saved to a new line and associated with an IP address, or maybe the same IP address. After the PDF file is sent to a user, the email address is added to the first row of the project. If the user clicks the button to return to page 1 and to start a new project or closes the browser, the project is closed and can no longer be edited or accessed by the user. if the user clicks the button to edit the project. If the user clicks the button to edit the project. What button? Okay, this is on page 11. So it doesn't exactly show that's on page 11. If the user clicks the button to edit the project, they will navigate back to page 10, where they can either back to page 10. So that should be smart enough, where they can either edit the text in inboxes on that page or navigate to other pages and edit text in inboxes on those pages. If any content has been saved as the last inputted value saved to the project, will be visible in the input box and may be edited. Right? So, all right, good. Now, the last section is the pages. So now we're going to talk about pages, and page titles are as follows. Some additional information has been added. For example, a hyphen. This means that there's an additional information about the above page number and page title, and a menu describes above. So it's like, all right, so for example, this hyphen, it's giving you more information about this page. What is it called? Page number and page title. Or a menu, in that case, describes the 4 pages that contain only text boxes and navigation buttons. So we have learn and do, so that's menu 1. If learn is selected, go to menu 2. If do is selected, go to menu 3. Learn elements, so that's menu 2. And then there are 3 pages in the learn elements, 3, 4, 5. So here's 3, 4, 5. Do performance booster. So this is so that actually should say do elements. There are 3 pages in the do unit. Yeah. There's a slight, it's not there, I've lost some symmetry there. There's the 3 different ones. And then we have the summary, notes, and send. This page will pull the text from one input box on each of the pages, 3, 4, 5, and text from the input box that contains the name of the task from page 7, and the text from 2 input boxes on page 8, and the numbers from the 3 input boxes on each of the pages 7 and 9. The contents. Did I miss something? What about the name of the task? It's entered into the input box on page number 7. Yeah, okay. That's fine. The contents of this page will be sent to the email in the PDF form to the email address that's entered in the input box on this page after the send button is clicked. And then we get to page 11. So the page is email sent. You got menu 4. Page is a navigation page where either the user will return to edit the project on page 10 or begin a new project on page 1. Boom! Do you see that? Wow, that was crazy. So the thing is, like, I didn't get this all in one shot. Like, it took like a week just to kind of like just keep on drilling through. And like, I was talking to this one guy, he's from Iran. He lives in Toronto, and we were chatting about something like this, and suddenly I had the vision of like, don't create a sign-up page. No, I was like, create a sign-up page and also allow people to go through the process without creating a sign-up page. Because I want to reduce friction. But then that like developed over the last couple of days to the point where I'm realizing, this is not the app. This is a lead magnet. And then once I got their email, then they're in that email campaign. So, and then we got to create like the real MVP, because I need the person to be able to create projects, like separate projects, and be able to go and access those projects. And then, so for example, if I'm a manager and then I call in some guy, I'm like, okay, so here's your file. Let's have another chat. And then what is that going to look like? So this is what Tom was talking about when he was explaining that one. Remember that one Miro, that past video from a couple of days ago, where I was showing some really early iterations of the concept. And at the very, very beginning, Tom had a very, very clear picture of what a website is supposed to contain. I can't even believe it, all these years. It took me like so many years and years and years. And now I understand the difference between us and customers and their customers. Yeah. But I don't know how that looks yet. I can only see this. This is it. This is as far as my brain has come. Yeesh. So, that's the question. Can like a guy like me or anybody else actually create a functional website with a zero math brain? Very small math brain. I got a math class on Thursday with my Chinese tutor, so we're gonna start practicing math. And okay, keep going, keep going. I'm like losing focus. Thank you for providing the details of the project description. It seems like a well-designed web application with various pages and functionalities. Oh, it's so nice. Based on your requirements, it would be better to use a server-side web framework like Bailongo or Flask for Python. So, and that's the thing. So I started using Flask. That's why I opened up the terminal. Suddenly it says or. Oh, great. Or. And so as soon as there's three ors, game over. I don't know. To handle the back-end tasks such as saving data to the Google Sheet, sending PDF files via email, these frameworks will allow you to manage the complex task, data flow, user interactions more efficiently, as well as handle email, PDF generation. Also, great flexibility to integrate various front-end libraries, database. So, considering project requirement and complexity, I recommend using server-side. Okay, Django, Flask. So there's three options, and I'm like, no, I can't make this decision. This is not a decision I can make. All right, so maybe I am a CEO. I just became a CEO. Oof, you can feel it. I just became a CEO. I just received a problem I can't solve. All right, I need somebody to come in. So I need somebody to help. But there's no one to help. Unless I create a social contract. And I don't want to create a social contract for this problem. This problem is I can find the answer by myself. So I'm willing to trade my time for the answer because there's an accessible database where I can find the answer relatively easy. And in addition, that database has now become much more easily searchable. Much more easily searchable. Yes. With ChatGPT. So I'll just ask ChatGPT. Does one of these possibilities offer an interface where I can edit text in the text boxes from a dashboard that shows me the user interface pages so that I can make adjustments to text boxes without having to change the code? So, see, now this is the thing. Why am I smarter than you? So, I mean, obviously there's going to be some like developers that in this area are going to be smarter than me. But because I'm so stupid, that's the point. Like all these developers, they filled their brains with garbage. It's just full of garbage. Why did you just guys spend the last 5-10 years of your life filling your brains with garbage? I spent the last 10 years of my life filling my head with frameworks and formulas and concepts and the way to see the world with the physics and with themes and typical activities. So I went to Tom's book and I just filled my head with it. And then I was like, I wonder if I could just kind of like practice this stuff. Right. What do we got with Prepley students? Church stuff. Math, physics, logic. Self-internal progress journal. Where's the title of the book? So I spent my time. So you see these different things here. All right. So this is this is do great. This is think well. And this is like be able or be apt. So, and then these boxes around here are all his thinking tools. And I spent 10 years mastering them with real people and real scenarios. So at the end of that 10 years, now I can see the world in the elements. You know, I love those books like The Elements of Style, The Elements of Persuasion. Though both of those books, both Elements of Style and Elements of Persuasion, were given to me by Ken. Huh. Thanks, Ken. And then I started thinking about like elements. And then I found Tom's book and I was like, huh, more elements. More elements. All right, let's do this. And I'm sorry, Ken. I know I did lots of things and said lots of things that were hurtful. So, does one of these possibilities offer an interface where I can edit text in the text boxes? None of these server-side web frameworks, Django, Flask, can come with a built-in dashboard for editing content directly on the user interface pages. However, you can create an admin dashboard to manage the text content of your application within using these frameworks. Django has a built-in admin interface that you can use to manage the content of your application. You can create models for the text, for your text content, and use the Django admin interface to edit the text without having to change the code directly. This is a feature of one of the main reasons why many developers choose Django for content-heavy applications. Yeah. Mine's got like, basically like less than 30 text boxes. For Flask, you can create a custom for Flask, and so there's more options. You can create a custom admin dashboard to manage the text content. You would need to build the dashboard. In summary, if you want an out-of-the-box text solution for managing text content without having to Django. All right, so let's start with Django. Great, let's start it. So then, all right, so then what's this? Dun, 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 dun. I don't live in Alberta anymore. You know, I was born in a village, right? Ever heard of Glenwood? Glenwood? I was born in Cardston, Alberta, because we didn't have a hospital in Glenwood. And after my dad became the manager of the cheese factory, well, my grandpa was a milk farmer, and I think that he had an influence in the process of making my dad the manager of the cheese factory, even though he probably never admitted it. So then we moved to Lethbridge and then Calgary. I went up through the public education system in Northeast Calgary. Renfrew, like where I go? Renfrew. Before Renfrew was the Douglas Harkness Renfrew, and then Sampson, and then James Fowler, like public schools. Like these are like in the bottom 5% of public schools in Calgary. So I had to get out of there. Yeah. Great, let's start with a project. I'll guide you through the project. Figure out Python and Django. I don't know if I have Django installed. So if you don't have Django installed, okay. Oh, it's doing it. So this is like what? Like what? Oh, so it's very difficult for me to copy and paste. Watch this. Well, I don't even need to. All right, so create a new Django project. What happened? Start project. Your project name. Replace your project name. Okay. Oops. Okay. What's this thing? Why is there a little thing here? Did that okay. I don't know if that happened. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Change your current directory to the project directory. All right, I've done this enough times that I know that. Now we'll find out if it works per formats. Booster. Ooh, it did it. Okay, good. Create a new Django app within your project. I should just tell it my project name. Then I wouldn't have to deal with this. This always happens. So there's always something. It's going to be like, no, you have to use Python 3. All right, we're running out of time. Anyways, you can see, right? So obviously, I think we're just going to do bash version Python 3 because this, I remember it from the last time. It just takes for days if you don't do it like this. All right, anyways, now we're getting into this thing. So you can this is just like knitting, okay? Not knitting, but like quilting. So now I have this huge quilt and I have a quilting machine. So I don't know if you guys know what a quilting machine is. But when I was a kid, my mom had a quilting machine. So it was like this big long machine, and then there was like, you know, these layers of material, and then she was like moving this thing around to make the pattern in the quilt, putting all these pieces together. So anyways, this has been the space between ideas. I think you get the point, and I'm going to take a little break, maybe eat some food, and then just take it's already 8 o'clock. But I mean, I might have to do a little bit of work just to get things prepared because otherwise tomorrow could be a tough day. So I think I'll do a little more. I may do some exercise. I might go for, I don't know what I'm going to do. Doesn't matter. All right. Thanks, everybody. Just wanted to say peace out because like the real uphill battle is like what everybody really wants to know is it begins now. Can I actually put it together? Space between ideas. Blaine Gates.